Kai was a young Labrador who loved being outdoors. He was the kind of dog who always seemed happiest when he was walking beside his family, following familiar trails and discovering new ones. Before this happened, life was full of simple adventures. Long walks, weekend hikes, and quiet time outside were all part of his routine. The mountains were not unusual for him. They were simply places he explored with the people he trusted. One day, during a regular hike, something changed. About 7 kilometers into the trail, Kai began lifting one of his paws. At first, it seemed small, but after a few moments, he stopped walking altogether. His family knelt beside him and checked his paw. They found a tear that was making it painful for him to continue. The hike was no longer about reaching the top. It became about getting home safely. His family stopped and thought carefully about what to do. They tried making a carrier with jackets and hiking poles. They adjusted it. They tested it. They looked for the easiest way to help him. Kai stayed still while they worked. His family members each had their own way of handling the situation. One moved quickly to solve problems. Another stayed calm and steady. Kai, usually the energetic one, was suddenly the quiet member of the group. Together, they began the long trip back down the mountain. When they reached the car, everyone seemed relieved. Kai was finally able to rest. Back at home, his recovery began. The veterinarian was consulted, and the injury could be managed with simple care. His paw needed cleaning, time, and a little protection while it healed. The house became quieter than usual. During the first few days, Kai spent much of his time resting. At night, he moved carefully through familiar rooms. He paused more often. He slept a little longer. Sometimes he watched the door when his family prepared for activities he could not yet join. The family noticed every small thing. They wondered if he would become nervous about hiking again. They worried that the experience might stay with him. Still, they stayed patient. They followed the routine. They gave him time. After a while, small changes appeared. Kai started carrying himself differently. He put more weight on the injured paw. He stood up a little faster when someone called his name. He followed family members from room to room again. One morning, he walked across the room without hesitation. It was a simple movement, but everyone noticed. The days continued. Meals happened at the usual times. Walks slowly returned. The leash came out again. The excitement in Kai's eyes looked familiar. When the healing period ended, the family planned a light hike. They kept their expectations small. They watched him carefully. They stayed close. But Kai seemed to remember exactly who he was. He walked beside them with the same steady pace he always had. He looked around with curiosity. He moved forward confidently, as if the difficult day on the mountain had become only one small part of a much larger story. Now, life feels normal again. Kai spends his days enjoying the routines he loves. He joins family outings. He explores trails. He rests at home after long walks. Sometimes, when the family looks at him running ahead, they remember carrying him down that mountain. And then they realize something. The change they worried about never arrived. What stayed instead was trust. Time has a quiet way of helping. Patience often works slowly. Sometimes healing is simply a collection of small days that eventually become a normal life again. If this small story brought a smile to your day, please like, share, and subscribe for more gentle animal stories. At Healing Paws, we believe some of the most meaningful moments are not the biggest ones. They are the small stories that unfold quietly, one day at a time.